Hello and welcome to the show. This is the Sales for the Nigerian Business Person podcast. It's available on Spotify, on Google Podcast, or Apple iTunes, or any podcast player of your choice. So remember to subscribe for free once you're done listening to this episode. Today on the show, we're going to run through changes that I've made to my SMS, my text-based coaching group. Initially, I conceived it as a coaching platform where I would provide accountability to people in their business journey and give assignments on a daily basis. That's for people who are members. But of course, for work days only. That's Monday through to Fridays. Occasionally, I was checking in on Saturdays or Sundays if there was anything that needed my timely attention. Now, the whole point of the SMS based coaching platform was to move the business forward in a very practical sense and not a theoretical sense. Because with the limitations that we have over here on the podcast, I can address issues in a theoretical sense sometimes. I come up with practical scenarios that I have worked with or scenarios that I think can be applied. So sometimes I'm freestyling to try and see how we can apply to different people's businesses. That's why we've gone through all kinds of wild scenarios like chicken farmers, architects, solar panels, people who do makeup on Instagram. I want people to be able to see that all these principles are as universal and applicable as possible across different businesses and different contexts. So the SMS based coaching group was going to be that forum where I would have people from different businesses who would be asking questions to see how all these principles apply. So the first batch, we have someone who was selling smart devices, smart home devices, security devices, automated devices. We also had someone in the fashion space that's doing Ankara avant-garde fashion. Someone in the business of selling to schools, and then let's see what else. Another person selling like a one-stop kiddie shop. Somebody in the logistics business. I mean, you get the whole idea. So this wouldn't be just be me inventing stuff, but rather taking all the things we discuss over here on the podcast and applying it specifically to their business. So that was initially the idea that I had behind the platform. So people would ask questions, I'll provide accountability, I'll provide assignments. I was making sure that people who are doing what they need to do on a day-to-day basis or on a weekly basis to move the business forward, not just show up, give theory, and then leave. Now, unfortunately, it turns out to be way more time and labor intensive than I thought. Now, I knew it was going to be labor intensive, but I just assumed that since it was a coaching platform and I can deliver voice notes, that then the work shouldn't be that hard. But it actually did turn out to be a lot of work because I was managing multiple conversations. I have to keep track of where people are in their businesses, the things that we discussed, outstanding things that needed to be done, and I was doing a lot of hand holding. And for the amount that I required at the time, which was 5,000 naira, it just turned out to be way more intensive than the returns that I was getting in a financial sense. Because as much as I want to help people out, it also has to be on terms that are rewarding to me as well. So because of that, we're going to be making some changes. I'm going to limit the amount of labor and the amount of time that I have to put into it. So now, instead of it being a coaching platform, it is now only going to be an ask me anything platform. So I'm only going to answer questions only, without the coaching and without the accountability component. So now you can ask me anything about your business and I'll give you an answer. But I am not going to be responsible for following up and making sure that you take the next practical steps. So I'm not going to be managing multiple conversations. If you ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. But I'm not going to show up the next day to say, okay, on what we discussed, what steps did you take? What problems did you run into? And we now brainstorm how it is that you can move on to the next step. So it's not going to be any of that. So you ask me a question, I give you an answer. If you act on it, that's up to you. If you act on it and you run into challenges and you come back and you ask me another question, yeah, then sure, I'll give you another answer. But I'm not going to follow up. I'm not going to do the hand holding anymore. So ask me anything, and absolutely anything that is business related, I'll give you an answer. Of course, from a sales and business development perspective, because sometimes the questions that you ask might have an accounting bent to it, or a cash flow management bent, but at the very least, I'll be able to give you an answer from a business development perspective, and then be able to tell you where you need to go to find more relevant answers. So ask me anything, I'll give you an answer. But now execution is going to be totally your responsibility. It's not going to be mine. So I'm not going to be managing those conversations anymore. So on the group, I'm not going to be doing the daily recaps that, okay, this is what we did yesterday, this is where we are with this person, and this is what we have to do next. I'm not going to be providing daily summaries anymore. I'm not going to be providing daily action plans anymore. I'm not going to be providing daily check-ins anymore. I'm only going to respond when folks have questions. So if I open up the app on Monday and there are no questions, then that's fine. I won't. I'm not going to put up an activity just for the sake of creating engagements on the group. So if there are no questions, there'll be no answers. So if you're still interested, then for those of you who are in the group already, then remain in the group and renew, because we're close to the end of the month. And of course, I promise I'll still give you the best value that I can, giving the new terms that the new terms of engagement going forward. Just remember that you are expected to be much more proactive now. So no more babysitting, no more hand holding. Now, if you're a member of the group and you think that this is not enough value, and that's not a problem, because I'll be pruning the group at the end of the month because time is almost up, and so we're going to be having those conversations one-on-one. If you don't think it's value with the new terms, then sure, you can opt out. That's absolutely not a problem. If you're a first-time listener and you want daily access to me so that you can ask me anything about your business, then it's a token investment of 6,000 Naira monthly. This Ask Me Anything group is only going to be available on Telegram. I'm not going to be using WhatsApp anymore. The reason why I'm doing it this way is so that previous answers will be available to everyone so that they can all learn from other people's experiences. The downside of using WhatsApp, even though WhatsApp is a much more popular platform, is that WhatsApp only shows you the responses or the messages from the time that you joined. But I want it to be that if you join in the middle of the month, let's say you join January 15th, you're going to be able to see all the answers that people have given from the 1st of January up until then. Because the whole point of this thing, and the thing that's going to make it a valuable experience for everyone, is that you're not just going to be learning from answers to your own questions. You'll be learning from answers to every other person's questions. So it's going to be a varied curriculum that's going to change on a case-by-case basis. But you're going to be learning from your experience, and you're going to be learning collectively from the experience of everyone else. So apart from this change, making this exclusively an Ask Me Anything platform, everything else stays the same. So thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate the time and attention, not just hanging out on the paid group, and then for those of you who are on the free group where we're talking about setting up your business in 3 easy steps. Also, those of you who are podcast listeners, I appreciate all the time and attention that you guys spend with me, because you can spend that time doing other stuff, although I doubt that instead of spending time with me, if you are spending that time on Netflix or watching Big Brother videos or whatever, I doubt that will be a valuable use of your time. So that is all for today, folks. If you love what you've been hearing on the podcast and you think you're getting value, and you have this inkling that you just need a little bit more to move your business forward so that you can get some concrete returns in your business, then hit me up on 080 6466 2140. You can do that by call, you can do that by SMS, WhatsApp, or Telegram. And you do that, this is the following support that I can give you. There's sales training and coaching available for you or your staff. The focus on techniques, strategies, and mindset shifts that you can use to drive revenue growth. There's also business and strategy consulting available to help you with your market positioning and your plans to expand so you can improve your business goals. And there's also customer experience improvement, where we can assist you or the company that you work for to improve customer satisfaction, customer loyalty. And the idea behind that is we want people to buy from you repeatedly, and also brings their friends, family members, and associates. That's where the real profits are. Then we also have e-commerce solutions to help you optimize your online presence or online sales tactics. That's for those of you who choose to sell over websites, or maybe you're even using third-party platforms like Jumia or what have you. Then there's also leadership and team development available. That's coaching and workshops to help you develop leadership skills, either you or your team, help you guys work on team communication, help you guys collaborate much more effectively. That's you and your employees. And then negotiation and deal closing skills, so that you guys can effectively negotiate with someone on the other end of the table and close more deals for successful business agreements. Then finally, there's also personal branding and career development, where I can help individuals build a strong personal brand and also advance your career by improving your professional communication skills. If any of these sound interesting, connect with me on LinkedIn or any social media of your choice. My name is Tavishima Ayede. Don't worry about the spelling, because the name, my email address, profile photo, they're up on the website where you're currently listening to this episode, for those of you listening on the webpage. If you're listening to it on a podcast, then in the profile of the podcast app where you're listening to my voice, you're going to find all those details. The correct spelling of my name, the email address, my photo. For those of you who already reached out on LinkedIn especially, thank you very much, guys, for reaching out. It's always nice to meet and hear from people who listen to the podcast. And then also, if you have dedicated savings goals for your business, savings plan related to your business or maybe your child's education, or you're thinking about personal retirement or your parents' retirement goals, then hit me up on 080-6466-2140. Again, the country code is +234 for those of you who are in diaspora and maybe you've forgotten about Nigeria's dial code because you've been out of the country for the last 20 years or whatever. So I'm affiliated with a Nigerian financial institution that offers way better returns than Nigerian commercial banks. It also guarantees that you're going to hit this savings goal, whatever it is you're saving towards, whether it's your child's secondary school or Harvard education or Momsy and Popsy's retirement, or you're thinking about your own personal retirement goals. Now, this is a business that has been in Nigeria for over 53 years and has over 504 billion naira in assets. So what that means is they're secure, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So hit me up if you're curious. So thanks again for the time and attention that you guys spend over here. I'll catch you on the next episode. And don't worry, this is not going to be about any changes to the business, but rather we're going to resume the business conversations that we had been having before I took a break to share resources that we have been putting up in the group. That's in the different groups. If I remember correctly, I'd have to look for my question list. I think we're supposed to look at some stuff around buyer's remorse, buyer regret, scope creep, things like that. I'll have to look for my question sheet and we'll continue with that tomorrow. So that's all, folks. I'll catch you guys on the next episode.